All right, we got round one of Bonds of Friendship. Cloud Strife and Zack Fair taking on Titan here. We want to go into Prime mode with Cloud and then use Sonic Boom. Based on my setup, Zack gained some nice ATB there. Titan's going to try and slap you. You want to counter those in Punisher mode. You can also do these stomps. You want to use Counterfire on those. And then with Zack, you want to use Stop and then go back to Cloud with Prime mode and just keep chopping away, building up 2 ATB, and then use Aroga. As soon as you have 2 ATB, Titan is beat to wind, and basically you just keep doing that. The pressure gauge is very high here. You can also use a focused thrust to put it over the edge and stagger. And back to Prime mode, and just basically can keep doing this for the whole round. And based on your setup, if you have strong magic, that should be it. All right, round two against Hueycoatl. So this can be a very quick round. So you want to counter that jump and then go straight into Prime mode with Cloud. Then you want to build up 2 ATB and use a Sonic Boom to get the pressure gauge going. There it is. Then you want to do ATB boost. Then you want to do Aroga. Really quickly, important to be quick here. Prime mode to build up 2 ATB again, and you need to get another Aroga in as fast as possible. Now, Hueycoatl's going to jump and use all sorts of lightning. Lightning can paralyze you, so you want to avoid it. Do another stop with Zack and build up 2 ATB and one more Aroga, and this fight is over. And that's it. It's pretty easy, but so you kind of have to follow those instructions. All right, coming up on round 3 against Phoenix, no fire elemental protection here. So you start out in Prime mode, then you want to do a rush on Phoenix and get to 2 ATB. He's going to spawn enemies. So you want to use level 2 magic against the enemies. Based on my setup, the best one to use is Thundaga. You also want to have Zack buff Cloud with a haste spell. And now because you don't have fire protection, when Phoenix does a fire attack, you have to time a counterfire right, or it will do big damage. So we did that there. We timed that counterfire perfectly fine and avoided any damage. So for the rest of the round, basically until he spawns another, right? So you just want to keep chopping away in Prime mode. Also add a plasma discharge as well. And same thing, use the level 2 magic against the bomb he puts out there, and then go right back to chopping away. But watch out for the fire attack. There was a surging flame there, and you have to use counterfire against that. These attacks can do heavy damage, and there's another burst attack. You have to use counterfire, and can basically take you out. If you don't time it right and you don't pay attention there, it like I said, could do 3,000-4,000 damage. There's the third spawn taken out with Thundaga. Now you want to switch to Zack and get 2 ATB with Zack, and have Zack use Blizzaga. And then have Cloud keep chopping away. So the Blizzaga will stagger Phoenix, and Cloud has strong level 3 lightning magic and can just basically finish Phoenix off with that. And this fight becomes pretty easy, and it was a good round. All right, we got Brineborn Demon round 4. First thing you want to do is step to the left and go into Punisher mode to counter this. Then you want to use Thundaga, and then you want to stop with Zack in those exact instructions. Then, using this Punisher mode here and this chop back and forth, you want to build up 2 ATB and use Thundaga. Again, you can see pressure gauge is high, energy's down. Now he's staggered, and you want to keep doing this Sneak a Sonic Boom in as well. It will help you finish the round faster. And then Thundaga again, and he's just about done, and now he is done. Pretty formulaic, but it works. All right, the next round is against Kujata, and this again is a pretty formulaic fight. So in this fight, the key thing is, so we don't want Kujata to adopt any of the elemental transformations that he typically does. So we want to keep him in this form. And the way you do that is, so you use Cloud, You do a few different abilities. You definitely need Prime Mode. You definitely need the Plasma Discharge. You definitely need Haste from Zack. And you want to keep Faith up and running via Sonic Boom. If you do that, if you keep the Faith up and running, so you can essentially just use Thundaga and keep Kujata from transforming into an elemental. In this setup, Cloud only has 2 elemental spells, has wind and has lightning, doesn't have fire, doesn't have ice, so it's crucial for Kujata not to go into those elementals, or basically he just kills you and the round's over. So you can see here, just building up now 2 ATB, right? Keeping Faith going, keeping Haste going, and then just using Thundaga each time so you have 2 ATB. Another thing too, which is gonna happen soon, is that Zack is gonna use Stop as soon as he gets a single ATB. There he is. So then you can stop Kujata, and if you stop him, so you can then make sure you have the Faith buff going, and then just build up ATB and use Thundaga. This is kind of probably the best way to finish him off in terms of just speed here without allowing him to turn into an elemental. You can see he's almost there. One more spell probably does it, and that is it. And so a little boring, but that's the best way to do it in my opinion. All right, next up, round 6 against Ironclad. Very easy fight, in my opinion. So you want to start off with an ATB boost, then you want to go into Prime Mode, then you want to use Sonic Boom for the Faith buff, and then you want to have Zack stop Ironclad, and it's back to Prime Mode. It's back to building up to ATB. Ironclad is weak against lightning, so then Thundaga and doing it all as fast as possible to keep him stopped for as long as possible. Eventually, he will be unstopped, so be sure to immediately stop him again with Zack. And then it's about building ATB with Prime Mode and just continuing to cast Thundaga and just being careful, as Ironclad does have some big attacks with the sword and spells. If he tries to cast Faraga, you could use level 2 or level 3 magic and get out of it. And that sword chop could have been countered in Punisher mode, but I missed it. But then one last Thundara to finish him off. Again, an easy fight there. Next, we have round 7 with Alexander, and this is another formulaic sort of a battle. So you want to start out with ATB boost, Prime Mode, and then Plasma Discharge. Then you want to attack the arms, typically go with the left arm. Counterfire any of the projectiles on the ground or in the air from Alexander, and then just start working on the arms. Be sure to kind of go to the area that's not lit up there to avoid that attack that just happened. And then you could get a Sonic Boom in when one of the arms is almost defeated. That will strengthen the magic with the Faith buff. And then it's just about breaking both arms as soon as possible, and can do that with Prime Mode and Plasma Discharge, or just use Thundara. Both should work, but the goal is to break the arms as soon as you can. So there's an Earth Tremor and there's a Tracking Beam. You have to be careful of that attack. If you don't counterfire that attack, it will kill you, because all of those Tracking Beams will hit. So then you could stagger Alexander with 2 focused thrusts and some Prime Mode chops. Now he's staggered, and literally one Thundaga should take him out from there. He's so weak to lightning. All right, we have round 8 versus Mindflayer. The key thing here is, so you have to use a synergy ability to pressure him, and then he could be beaten very easily. And to get that synergy ability, so you have to be sure to do at least like 3 ATB attacks with Zack. And in terms of Cloud, in the meantime, it's Prime Mode, it's Sonic Boom for the Faith buff, it's Haste buff as well on Cloud, and then it's just level 3 Thundaga spells to really knock down Mindflayer. Be sure to block the rocks there in telekinesis, and if you don't have a level 3 spell active, so when he teleports there, hide behind a rock, otherwise the Psychotic Break will do big damage. But you want to make sure to switch between Cloud and get on Zack and do an ATB attack. Either the Chain Slash or the Meteor Strikes. Either will work fine. But I typically have to do 3 to open up the synergy attack. Avoid these attacks to the Astral. I think it's called Apparition. Those don't get anywhere near those. Those can take you out. So just stay far away. Then it's as soon as you get the synergy ability, you want to do a level 3 magic attack, then immediately do the synergy ability. If you do the attack out of sequence, sometimes Mindflayer can teleport and the synergy attack, it just completely hisses. So always do it right after a Thundaga or a level 3 magic. Then the pressure gauge is high. You can put Mindflayer into Stagger very easy, and then it's over. And that's pretty much... with this setup, I think that's the best way to kill Mindflayer. All right, round 9, Bahamut Arisen. So he starts off with the same attack every time. Go into Punisher mode, counter the kick, and counter the slash. Now get away from him and just start to get Cloud with his ATB abilities. So start with Prime mode. Then you want to do ATB boost. Then you want to do Plasma Discharge. Then use Zack to do haste. And so you'll be pretty well set up there. And you just want to use Counterfire to fire back any projectiles that Bahamut sends at you. And basically patiently wait for him to get into the charging mode. There it is, the particle charge mode, right? Start the Sonic Boom at this point too. You need a faith buff if you really want to move through this as fast as possible. And then build up to ATB and use Thundaga on each wing, and that should pressure Bahamut. So there's the 2 wings are broken, he is pressured. Then Prime mode for another 2 ATB and use Thundaga. And at this point, too, it's a good time to use Zack and just apply a direct faith buff to Cloud, so then you don't even have to really worry about the Sonic Boom. But Cloud should just keep building up to ATB, get another Thundaga in if possible. And then you have to watch out for Bahamut's attacks, which mostly can be countered at this point. But you see Bahamut has about 50% energy. The pressure gauge is at 50%. And so it's the same thing here. Build up to ATB, break the wings, keep an eye on the faith buff, make sure that's still up and running. If not, so use Zack to reapply. But get to ATB, break the wings, Thundaga, and then just keep trying to build up as much ATB before Bahamut transforms. There's the transformation, so you built up 2 ATB. You want to avoid this attack, which was just done there. Another Thundaga, so Bahamut is basically down to 5-10% HP. There's a projectile, you want to counterfire that, which didn't, the timing was a little bit off because of the transition, but so Zack has 2 ATB, so you can use a level 3 magic spell with him, and that should probably do it. And so like I said, with the setup I have, it's actually a fairly easy fight. All right, jumping right back in, round 10 versus Odin is upcoming. So first you want to start out with a counter of the sphere, or he will do a charge, either or. Counter it, then start up with Prime mode, and you want to. It's important here, and the main thing about this fight is to successfully Punisher mode counter as many attacks as possible early in the fight, and use the counters to build up ATB, and then cast level 3 magic on Odin. Get as many buffs as possible too, obviously. Plasma Discharge, Haste, and Faith buffs make the fight a lot easier because so you want to take Odin out as soon as possible so he doesn't get to split the screen, because once he splits the screen it becomes a lot harder. You want to avoid any held cleaver, avoid any big attacks on the inside. Be sure to move in and out. See, I got attacked twice there. I always seem to make like 1 or 2 mistakes against Odin, and sometimes I have to start the whole gauntlet over. Other times I'm able to recover. Here I was able to recover. Now Odin is staggered, and you want to take advantage of this and get as many Thundagas in as possible, and apply a buff for Faith as well. And then I'm just chopping away here until there's another chance to use Thundaga. So Odin's probably down to about 20% HP, but he's gonna split the screen soon. So try to do as much damage as possible before he splits the screen, which he's about to do now. Cloud almost has 2 ATB as well. And so, okay, that's over. So he split the screen. Now Cloud has 2 ATB, and he just did basically took away almost all of Odin's energy, and then just a couple of sword slashes, and that was it. So I want to thank you if you stayed with this video for this long. Appreciate it, and hope you could certainly leverage the strategies here to help your own journey through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. 8:49 is my best time. I think, very happy with that time. Anything under 10 minutes is good, though, in my opinion. So that was that. I like this setup too for Bonds of Friendship. The Materia setup, kind of like an ATB battery with strong magic throughout. I think it's good if you're having trouble with this Bonds of Friendship gauntlet. Please do try the build. So I'll post the Materia here on the screen, and then I will post a comment. But again, thanks for watching. Really appreciate everyone who watches my content. If you enjoy this content, please subscribe, like, share, drop a comment, etc. Appreciate it very much, and thank you.